And I said, this is getting unbearable. The thought of going back next week is just terrifying. Just don't know how much longer I can do this. So he just said to me, well, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Even for all those years, you've worked really hard. You've gone on to do other things since, to more qualifications, more training. What are you doing it for? I thought, well, he's actually got a point, hasn't he? I can't keep doing a day and moaning about the rest of my life when I can make the change myself.
Yeah. If you're already earning your living in a full-time job, how do you make that leap from employment to a full-time private practice? Is it even possible? And how can you make it work when you've got bills to pay? Today, I'm resharing an interview with Tracey Carlisle, who was a member of my therapy growth group back in lockdown. This is the story of how Tracey made it work. And although this interview is several years old, Tracey is still in practice, and she's now expanding to include self-esteem workshops as part of her work. Sit back and enjoy listening to the story of Tracey's progress, because I'm sure she'd agree that if she can do it, you can do it too. So, Tracey, I've first started noticing you around lockdown, because you were working at home, weren't you? But you were working in a job that you didn't really enjoy. So tell us a bit about where you were, and were you doing any private practice at the point of lockdown? And
yeah, I was doing, just up until we went into lockdown, I was doing evenings. Mm-hmm. So I was doing a Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday evening, just a couple of clients. Yeah. So I probably had about 6 a week.
Right.
A couple of the evening. When we went into lockdown, it was a mixed bag of emotions for me. I loved being at home. I loved working from home, but I didn't love the fact that I had that privilege, I suppose, to be at home, but not doing what I wanted to, not doing what I enjoyed. Yeah. So for me, it was quite frustrating, because I was still not seeing, because then the initial lockdown, I was doing them by telephone. So that was a completely different way of working for me, from face to face, thrown in at the deep end instantly, like we all were. But I got through it. Yeah. And clients got through it too, and unscathed, I hope. And it all seemed to be going okay, but it kind of still didn't sit right with me, because I was still quite unhappy in myself. Fast
forward to about September, you went back to work, didn't you, at that point? You went back to the office.
Yes, went back, and then decided it was time to drop down to 4 days. So had the meeting with the boss, asked if it would be possible. So I chose a Wednesday in midweek to break the week up for me. And so then I went from my Tuesday evening with clients to all day Wednesday evening and Thursday evenings. And that took off fairly quickly. Yeah. Initially, when it wasn't taking off as quickly as I'd hoped, I was doing CPD, so I was using the time. Yeah. Then it did. The Wednesdays filled up. And then I was becoming quite exhausted, because I was then doing 2 jobs. Yeah. But still enjoying it. And looking forward to my Wednesdays. Wednesdays was my favourite day of the week. They call it Wonky Wednesday. It was never that for me. It was always my favourite day of the week.
Yeah. Because you just love the counselling. Yeah.
And the freedom.
Because you've got, you're in a lovely office there, aren't you? You've got a lovely space. Anybody on the in the group will have seen the space that you've got, because you've got like a space in your garden, haven't you, for clients? Yeah.
So we down the bottom of the garden. So I've got a separate office to the therapy room. Yeah. And clients love it as well, because it's a nice view from the garden. Yeah. And when I'm doing things like this, the dog comes down and he comes to work. Yeah. And he enjoys it too, which is nice. Yeah. And it's just a nice environment. Yeah. It's just lovely.
So I know people who are watching are going to be wanting to know, how did you do it? How did you move from just a few clients to more clients, to then actually taking that step? Was it difficult to take that step, to give up your work and actually, right, I'm going to take the plunge and I'm going to move from like this day a week with a few evenings to like, I'm giving up work and giving up that income that I know I've got coming in? Tell me about that.
Well, in a nutshell, I was pushed. No. As time went on, I was becoming more and more frustrated because I was gaining more and more confidence.
Yeah.
And I was getting better and better, with my clients through more and more experience and stuff. And so I was finding it harder to do the other job.
Yeah.
And, my mindset was just all over the place. And so I knew I had to make a decision. And so it was Friday evening with family. My son-in-law and daughter came over. And I said, this is getting unbearable. The thought of going back next week is just terrifying. Just don't know how much longer I can do this. So he just said to me, well, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Even for all those years, you've worked really hard. You've gone on to do other things since, to more qualifications, more training. What are you doing it for? I thought, well, he's actually got a point, hasn't he? I can't keep doing a day and moaning about the rest of my life when I can make the change myself.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, okay, what I'll do is I'll aim to hand in my notice in 3 months' time, which gives me the opportunity to build up some money, and then I'll do it. And so he said, well, I think 3 months is too long, but if that's what you're comfortable with, that's what you do. It turned out on the Monday morning, I handed in my notice.
Was that like a month's notice?
Yeah, so I had to give a month, but I ended up giving them 5 weeks because I thought because that's how that May turned out to be. And I thought, and that way I'm being fair and so on. And I wanted to leave on good terms. And from that very moment, it was the longest 5 weeks of my life. It just every day got harder and every day got longer.
Yeah.
And I still didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I had this excitement, and that's what kept me going. I didn't care what was going to happen. I was excited.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that I'm very methodical and very conscientious, and I wasn't that person in that office anymore because my mind, I just wasn't interested. I checked out.
Yeah, you were ready to go.
And I was ready to go, and that's all I wanted. And so as I was making it clear to clients that I was opening up my diary more.
Yeah.
So I left on I think it was like the 28th of May. And then on Tuesday, the 1st of June, I was in full-time private practice.
Wow. Yeah.
And my diary wasn't by nowhere near full, but it was enough income.
Yeah.
And it was nice to ease myself in.
Yeah.
And from there on, I've not regretted a single moment. I've not looked back, and it's just grown and grown and grown and grown from there.
It's fantastic. It's really, really good, isn't it? So the way you've done it really is, in a sense, you sort of compromised with being a bit busier for a while you established yourself and got that confidence up.
Yeah.
And then you took the leap. And now, you're not doing 2 jobs, you're just doing the 1 job, and you've got that lifestyle and the counselling business that you've always wanted, which is amazing. Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to have the freedom. I work my diary around taking the dog to dog school and things like that. And weekends away, and I don't work weekends anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
I did initially.
Yeah.
For about the first 6 to 8 weeks, I did Saturday mornings. And then quickly stopped doing that. Then I decided I was only going to do 3 days a week. I was going to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Monday was going to be like my admin day, if you like, CPD, that sort of stuff. But now I book clients in on a Monday too.
Because you're busy.
Yeah, because I'm busy.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely feeling.
Yeah.
And long may it last.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will. I have all faith that it will. I'm very positive, got a very positive attitude. And I just absolutely love it. My only regret is I didn't do it sooner.
Yeah. But it was hard, wasn't it, to take that leap into the unknown? It was your son-in-law saying what to do. And tell me because what we were saying before we started recording about the almost like trying to get everything in place. And you were saying that you thought you had to get everything in place before you started.
Yeah, I feel like that's what holds a lot of us back from going into private practice, because we feel that we need to have everything ready. We need to have the clients, we need to have the paperwork, the handout, the pretty paper. You don't need any of that. You just need to be able to take payments and do the work.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Get a profile, get your directory sorted.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do Facebook pages and things like that, it's all choice, it's personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to have every individual piece in place, because the jigsaw does come together in the end, and you do it as you go along. And what I found, a lot of the work that I'd put into place, I believed I needed, I've not needed, or I've changed. Because it doesn't suit that way. So I've adjusted things along the way. So I thought, that was a lot of time wasted, really, because as you settle into it and get going, you realise what you need and what you don't need and how you need it.
Yeah. So your advice would be just get going, really.
Just get going.
Yeah. It's really
just
interesting.
Get going.
Yeah.
Don't hold yourself back, because you'll do it. You can always find a reason not to do it.
Yeah.
You can always find an excuse, whether it's where you're going to work from, what hours you're going to do, whether you're good enough, that whole imposter, which probably a lot of the people in the group that know me in the group know that mine's a jelly baby, my imposter. And I just think to myself, oh, you're a jelly baby. What do you know? I can't take you seriously. And that's it. It's gone. So I think you just got to have faith in yourself and just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because you sort of said that you think that's actually the most important thing about getting set up was actually that mindset and just making that leap, really.
I think one important thing that you do need to have in place from the very beginning, and again, it will change, but you do need to have it in place, is boundaries.
Yeah, go on.
You have to know your boundaries, what's acceptable, when you're going to work, when you're not going to work, what you're prepared to bend a little bit, how you're going to be with clients. I'm very adamant with all my clients not to turn up early, because I don't want them crossing on the way out. I want them to feel comfortable coming in and leaving. And I take deposits so that it covers any late cancellations or DNAs, all those sorts of things. So have your boundaries in place so that it just makes things flow a lot easier. And you don't have awkward conversations, awkward situations. They're there in place. Put them in your contract. Make them aware from the very first session, that very first assessment. It makes a lot of difference.
That's helped, And where do you get your clients from? How did you get your first clients? Because it's often difficult to get the first clients going, isn't it? When you were sort of first setting up.
My first ones were recommendations from friends.
Yeah,
word of mouth.
Can I just ask, how did you get the word of mouth recommendations from your friends? Is it just sort of like you told everybody that you were
told the world?
Go on.
I told everybody, this is my dream, this is what I'm doing, and I need to get some clients in. And then it was like, I've got a friend that could do with some help. Well, do I know this friend? No. That's absolutely fine then. Let's have a chat with them and see if I can help.
Brilliant.
So so a lot of word of mouth. And now I get a lot of recommendations. I get existing clients coming back, because bearing in mind, before I went into private practice full-time in June, prior to that, for a year, I was part-time, very part-time. So some of those clients have come back because something new's come up for them. And they've recommended people. So, but with directories, a majority would be from counselling directory. I get a lot from counselling directory. Not so many psychology today, but definitely through counselling
directory. That works well for you. So you've got that sort of mixture, haven't you? The word of mouth, probably past clients now recommending you to other new people, past clients coming back to you, and then new clients finding you sort of on the internet and getting you that way.
And more so recently through my website, because I've spent time on Google, so that I come up on Google. And I've had a lovely website designed by one of our fellow members, which is fantastic. And so I'm actually getting people through the website as well now.
So when you say you spent more time on Google, tell us a bit about that. What have you done?
Well, you can register with what's called My Google. I think it's Google My Business. That's it. Google My Business. And so if you spend a bit of time setting that up and setting yourself up as a business on there, then when people go into Google to search, counsellors in Essex or therapy in Essex, all those keywords, you'll come up, you'll show up. But until you go on to Google My Business, it's very difficult for them to find you without specifically putting in your web address.
And do you go on to Google My Business and add posts and that sort of stuff as well?
Or no, I don't.
You just registered, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not technical to do these kinds of things. I'm not very good with stuff like that, so I tend to shy away from things.
But it's still working, isn't it? You're still getting clients. So yeah, I mean, if you did all of that, you'd probably be inundated.
And I wouldn't have the time to work with clients if I was working on these things all the time. So yeah.
I mean, you've managed it without it, and probably a lot of it is because you've put yourself out in front of your sort of friends and family and said to everybody, I'm looking for clients. So
I do other cheeky things as well. Like if I'm going to the hairdressers, I'll ask if I can leave some cards.
Yeah.
If I'm going for a facial, I'll ask if I can leave some cards and so on. So wherever I go, I've always got business cards with me.
Yeah.
And just ask if I can leave a few.
Yeah.
And generally people will say yes. And I did actually go a little bit beyond that. I bought some tidy little boxes for them to be in, just off of eBay, cheap as chips, just so that when I was giving, they could look at it, well, actually it's tidy. They're not going to get messed around and thrown everywhere.
Yeah.
And so generally people will say, yeah, that's fine, just leave a few on the counter.
Yeah. It's this old-fashioned things, isn't it? It's not necessarily, the internet and all the rest of it, but just, putting your cards out locally and using people that the good old word of mouth.
Yeah. Local pharmacy, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, that's brilliant, Tracey. And you and I have sort of been on a bit of a journey together as well, haven't we? So
we have.
Do you want to just tell everybody what we've done together?
Oh, well, back at the start when I, first come across good enough counsellors, we had a one-to-one, didn't we? And I was kind of I think I was a different person back then.
Yeah, go on.
I was very unsure of myself, I suppose, and unsure of my capabilities. And what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And we had a really good chat for, about an hour or so, really good chat. Yeah. And I've still got the notes
to
this day. And yes, I have. Yeah, I have.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've still got the notes and I still look back on them from time to time because I think these are good reminders of where you've been and where you are now. But also in those things, there'll always be that little key thing. Oh, yeah, I haven't thought about trying that again.
Yeah.
It's all good tools.
Yeah, brilliant. And then you came into my therapy growth group for a while, didn't you, as well?
I did.
What did you go on?
What did I think of it? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. What did you find useful?
Invaluable. Yeah. Invaluable. There's so much to learn from yourself and from others in the group. There's always fresh ideas. Everybody's so welcoming and helpful and supportive. So if you might think you've got a bit of an issue that's a bit ridiculous, I just don't want to share that. You feel like you can because there is no question is a stupid question, is it?
That's it.
And so put it out there and get some help, get some advice and support. And it's been absolutely invaluable. And the training's been superb.
Oh, good. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. But like you say,
highly recommend.
If you'd like to take advantage of the training and support in Therapy Growth Group, I've got a wonderful Twixmas offer for my listeners, but you need to take action on it as soon as possible to take full advantage of it. I'm offering people who join Therapy Growth Group before the 31st of December a special bonus. I've never offered this before, and I don't know if I'll offer it again. Join now and you will get access to a special hours coaching session, which I will record if you can't make it. And that's on Saturday, the 25th of January at 10:30 a.m. And what I'm going to do is I am going to review people's directory profiles. Something like if you've got a profile on Psychology Today or BACP, Find a Therapist, or counselling directory, what I'll do is I will review each person's profile. I'm going to do it on a strict first come, first served basis. So the sooner you join Therapy Growth Group, the more likely you are to have your profile reviewed during that session. I normally only offer this service as part of my £200 get paid one-to-one sessions. So it really is a special offer. I'll try and cover as many profiles as I can in the time available, but obviously the sooner you join, the higher you'll be up the list. But what I would say is that there's a lot of learning, even from just watching reviews of other people's profiles. you'll learn a tremendous amount just by coming along or catching it up on the recording if you're not available. And don't worry if you haven't written your profile yet. It's a great incentive to do it before the 25th of January. And as soon as you join Therapy Growth Group, you'll be able to access the Make Your Profile Work training and all the templates that are there to help you actually write your profile. It'll help you get it done, especially if you've been procrastinating. Just imagine you could join and you could get your profile published within a couple of days. What a great way to start the new year. My advice has helped hundreds of therapists to fill their practices. By joining Therapy Growth Group, you'll be able to access my ongoing support. I do weekly coaching calls. There's resources in there such as Make Your Profile Work and the Find Your Next 5 Clients training. And in January, I'm going to be launching a weekly quick wins program, which means that you'll be able to take small actionable steps week in, week out to help you grow your business. If you'd like to take advantage of this offer, which, as I say, you'd normally only be able to access by paying for my £200 Get Paid programme, head over to therapygrowth.group to register and join. And in the new year, we'll be in touch to organise your review and let you know all the details. But remember, the quicker you join, the more likely you are to be included in that special hours coaching. Therapy Growth Group costs £50 per month and you can cancel at any time. And now back to Tracey. It's just so lovely to reach this point where, you know, you're full. It's like this little bird when it's leaves the nest, isn't it? Because you're sort of like just flying and you're independent, and you know you've got this lovely practice and you're living the the career that you wanted to have.
Living the dream. Funny you should say about birds, because my logo is a phoenix.
Oh, phoenix
and
rising
people
from the
say to me,
ashes.
people say to me, well, what's the bird? It's a phoenix. It has a significance behind it, which I think is quite fitting in our profession.
Definitely. And that's what you're helping your clients with as well.
Yeah.
To help them rise.
Yeah. So I recommend to everybody that anybody that's on Good Enough Counsellors that isn't on the Therapy Growth Group, it's worth the investment.
Thank you, Tracey.
You get so much from it.
Yeah. What I love about Tracey's story is that I know for many of you listening, there's always this question. And the question is, can I make that leap? Can I move from secure employment to working in private practice? And I think what Tracey shows is that it is possible, but sometimes you have to combine the two for a while because that can help you. But I really also loved what Tracey said, which was, if not now, then when? And that did ultimately persuade her to take that leap of faith. And I think, as you can tell, she was really pleased that she did so. So I hope Tracey's experience has inspired you. I don't see so much of Tracey now in the group because, to be frank, she doesn't really need me because she's got going. She's enjoying working in private practice. And as she said in the interview, she is living her dream. Thanks for listening. Do come and join my Facebook community, Good Enough Counsellors. And for more information about how I can help you develop your private practice, please visit my website, josephinehughes.com. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you could share it with a fellow therapist or leave a review on your podcast app. And in closing, I'd love to remind you that every single step you make gets you closer to your dream. I really believe you can do it.